We can use the sine rule to find a missing angle or a missing side when we have opposites. The sine rule is A over sine A is equal to B over sine B. If we're finding a length, we use this one with the lengths on top. If we wanted to find a missing angle, we'd flip it over. Sine A over A equals sine B over B. It just makes it easier to rearrange if what you're trying to find is on top. So we know we can use the sine rule because we've got opposites. So if this 41 is big A, opposite it is little a. If the 98 is big B, opposite it will be little b. So we've got one unknown in our opposites. That means we can use the sine rule. So we'll have x over sine 41 equals 12 over sine 98. We want x by itself, so we'll multiply both sides by sine 41. So we have 12 over sine 98 times sine 41. And we can just type that into the calculator. 12 over sine 98 times sine 41. And that gives us our answer, 7.95. So x is 7.95 centimeters. One for you to try. Pause the video and give it a go. So we can see we've got opposites here. We'll have big A, little a, big B, little b. And we're just going to substitute into the sine rule. We want the lengths on top. So we can have A over sine A equals B over sine B. So that's x over sine 53 equals 8.1 over sine 61. Get x by itself, so times by sine 53. And type it into the calculator. So that's 8.1 over sine 61 times sine 53. And that's 7.40. So 7.40 centimeters. Again, find the value of x. So what's happened this time? We don't quite have opposites. So the 19.5 is opposite the 105. And this time our missing length, our x, is opposite an unknown angle. But because we know two angles in the triangle, we can find the other one. So 180, take away 105 and 38 is 37. So the missing angle here is 37 degrees. So now we have opposites. So let's just label them: big A, little a, big B, little b. Again, we're finding a length, so we're going to have the lengths on top. So it's going to be x over sine 37 equals 19.5 over sine 105. We want x by itself, so times by sine 37. Type it into the calculator. And we get 12.1. So x is 12.1 centimeters. One for you to try. Pause the video and give it a go. So again, we've got an opposite. We've got 36 opposite 14.6. Our x, we don't know the angle opposite it, but we can find it out. So 180, take away the angles we know, because the angles in the triangle add up to 180. We've got 112. So we've got x with its opposite, sine 112, equals 14.6 with its opposite, which is sine 36, times both sides by sine 112. We'll get x by itself, and then type it in the calculator. And we get 23.0. This time we've got a missing angle. So calculate the value of x. We've got its opposite, we've got x's opposite, and we've got an angle opposite a length here. So with this time we're going to have big A is going to be x, that's opposite little a. Big B is 110, that's opposite 26.1. Because we're finding an angle, we're going to flip it over and put the angles on top. So we're going to have sine A over A equals sine B over B. So that's sine X over 15.5 is equal to sine 110 over 26.1. Times both sides by 15.5, and that will give us sine X so sine 110 over 26.1 times 15.5, 0.558, that's sine X. We want x by itself, so shift sign the answer, shift sign answer, and we get 33.9. So x is 33.9 degrees. One for you to try. Pause the video, give it a go. So we have opposites. We're going to have big A, little a, big B, little b. We're going to put the angles on top because we're finding an angle. So sine x over 8.7 equals sine 104 over 12.4. We want sine x by itself. So times both sides by 8.7. Type it into the calculator. That'll be sine x. So sine 104 over 12.4 times 8.7. Sine x is 0.68. Shift sign the answer, 42.9. So we've got 42.9 degrees as our answer. This time there's no diagram, but we're told we've got triangle ABC. Let's just draw a diagram. A, B, C. A to B is 5.1. A to C is 6.7. And angle ABC is 71 degrees. Find the two remaining angles. So it doesn't matter which one we find first. Let's have, just use the opposites we've got. So we'll have this one C as X. I'm going to relabel it. So I'm going to call that one A, little a, big B, little b. And let's just substitute in. So sine x with its opposite, 5.1, is equal to sine 71 over its opposite, 6.7. So sine x is going to be sine 71 over 6.7 multiplied by 5.1, which is 0.719 and so on. Shift sign the answer, and we get 46.0. So x is 46.0 degrees. And if we call this one y, to find that angle, we're just going to do 180, take away the two other angles. So 180, take away answer, and take away the 71 is 63.0. So that's the two remaining angles. Again, one for you to try. Give that one a go. So triangle ABC. ABC. A to B is 12.3. B to C is 8.6. And ACB is 87 degrees. We're going to find the missing angles. So let's use these opposites to start with. Call this one x. So sine x with its opposite is equal to sine 87 over its opposite. So we can find sine x by doing sine 87 over 12.3 times by 8.6. So that sine x is 0.698. Shift sign, 44.3. Then the other missing angle is going to be 180. Take away the 87. Take away the 44.3. And that is 48.7. In triangle ABC, A to B is 8 centimeters. B to C is 5 centimeters. And angle BAC is 38 degrees. Calculate the two possible values of angle ACB. So sometimes with the sine rule we can have two possible answers, and that's because of the sine graph. Let's have a quick look at the sine graph. The sine graph looks like this between 0 and 360. And when we shift sign, we're putting in a number between 0 and 1, and we're asking the calculator to give us out the angle. The calculator is only ever going to give us an angle between 0 and 90 degrees. It's only ever going to give us an acute angle. But sometimes an angle in a triangle can be bigger. We can actually want the second answer. We might not want the first answer. If it's an obtuse angle, we want the second answer. So the calculator is only going to give us the acute one. So if we want the second angle, the second possible angle, we have to use the symmetry of the sine graph. So the calculator is going to give us an answer. That's going to be this one, the first one. If we want the second one, we need to use the symmetry and do 180 minus the first answer. So this gap here and this gap here are going to be equal. So we're going to get a first answer in the calculator and then do 180 take away that, and it will give us our second possible answer. So let's answer this question. We've got opposites. We've got the angles on top. So sine x with its opposite, which is 8, is equal to sine 38 over its opposite, 5. Multiply both sides by 8. So sine x is sine 38 over 5 times 8. Type that in the calculator. Sine 38 over 5 times 8, and that's 0.985. 0.985. We want x, so let's shift sign the answer. And remember, this is only going to give us an answer between 0 and 90, 80.1 degrees. So that's our first answer. Our second answer is 180 minus the first answer. So it could also be 99.9 degrees. So there's two possible answers. X could be 80.1 or 99.9, and they would both have an 8, a 5, and a 38-degree angle. One for you to try. Pause the video and give it a go. So we have triangle ABC. ABC. A to B is 12. A to C is 15. And angle ACB is 50 degrees. Calculate the two possible values of ABC. So we've got opposites. Sine x over 15 equals sine 50 over 12. So let's get sine x by multiplying both sides by 15. So sine 50 over 12 times 15 is 0.957 and so on. So shift sign for the first answer, which is 73.2. Then 180 minus the first answer gives us our second answer, which is 106.8. So our angle X could either be 73.2 or 106.8 degrees. Both of those would work in this triangle.